Hi everyone, hope everyone is well and blessed. Yeah, I'm back again with another video. It's really different because when I edited the video before, I was only limited to 15 minutes, so a lot of content had to be removed because of the time limit that I had. Whereas before I was able to do videos that were a bit longer. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna go straight to the point, and yeah, let's get to it. Today's video is about it encompasses a lot of things. Loving your neighbor, being a servant, and the thing and what I keep on referencing to and reinforcing is my goal in 2020 is to really be moving like Christ. Not to say that wasn't my goal in previous years, but I feel like every year there's always a battle or something difficult that I thought wasn't a major thing. It's like it becomes a major thing. So like last year it was being sacrificial and actually putting God first rather than myself, and this year I honestly feel like it's really putting people first as well before myself and being and serving others. The reason why I'm talking about this is I've spoken to a lot of people about the whole element of loving your neighbor as yourself, or loving somebody else just as you love yourself. And it's weird because I've heard this thing for years, like, you know, love God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and all your strength, but then love people just as much as you love yourself. And I didn't have an issue with it. Whoever is nice to me, I also reciprocate that same energy. But it's not meant to be like that. I had it wrong. I had a different perspective on everything. It was wrong. I was wrong. And it's funny, and I'm still dealing with it. First thing, or the way this resonated, let me go back. So the way it came out to me was obviously in the beginning this year. My church was doing this thing of like finding a purpose and knowing who you are and da 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 da. So it started off, or the foundation of it was, okay, for you to understand your purpose, you need to understand who created you. And by understanding that God created us, you need to read your word. To read your word, you need to know, it allows you to know more about God. And then you figure it out by looking into the commandments and obeying them. That's how you then, build a relationship. And looking into the commandments, obviously loving God with all your heart and putting him first, and that was the foundation of it all. And obviously that was hard because I don't do it all the time. I don't wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose God before everything. I put myself first in many occasions, and I feel like every day you have to remind yourself, every minute of every day, you have to constantly remind yourself that it's only by his grace that I'm here today. And that's a daily thing. That's something that is hard because you have all these things in front of you that can cause distractions from your aim, from your purpose. And then the other thing was like, okay, loving your neighbor as yourself. Now don't get me wrong, there's other elements to this whole umbrella of finding your purpose and knowing who you are and knowing why you were placed on this earth. But the thing that I'm going to cover today is that loving your neighbor as yourself. Now, when it comes to friendships and people outside and associates, you can kind of choose whether or not you want to engage with them. If you want to invest in them, you can stop talking to them. Even down to family. Yeah, you don't pick your family, but you can choose who and who you don't want to talk to. And with work colleagues, at the end of the day, you're getting paid, so you're gaining something from it. So if I want to cut down to it, with friendships, with associates, with family, with work colleagues, you can choose and you can dictate if they, or if you want to invest your time, or if you want to stop talking to them, or if it gives you anything back in terms of money, or if it benefits you in any way. However, when you're in an environment of people you don't know from different backgrounds, and you make that decision to stay within that vicinity or within that place because you love God, that's hard. Meaning the church, as in a church, people mistaken the church as a building, but it's actually not. It's one more people, like a lot of people, one or two people. As long as it's more than yourself, it is a church. And if God's spirit is there, that's what a church is to myself, like. And because of that, there are going to be a lot of like clashes. There's going to be someone who's going to be rude, disrespectful, who's going to say something that's just not gonna, do you know what I mean? It's not gonna soothe you in the right way. But it's like you still have to smile and be like, alright, I'm still going to treat you the same way. I'm still going to love you, irrespective of what you've done to me or what you're doing to me now. And I found that very hard. And for a long time, I would be in church and I felt like, I won't say I had expectations. Okay, I had expectations because for me, if I'm treating you a certain way, I expect that back. So I treat everybody, I treat them nicely. Won't necessarily say like when I first see you, I'm gonna be like, well, you like. I feel like I'm very nice, so I expect that back. Excuse me, but a lot of people don't have that same mentality. Like, so a lot of times I got offended, and in a normal scenario, it would be like, alright, cool, bye, see ya. But in church, it's like you have to be like, okay then, hi, okay, da 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 da. And I found that very hard. Recently, it's not even just about loving your neighbor as you love yourself, but it's also about serving each other and serving someone without expecting anything back, but understanding the bigger goal that you are doing this because you love Christ. And you have to remember that if you want to be Christ-like, you have to think of it as, okay, Jesus came down to be just like us, to serve us, so that we could be saved from sin. And when you put that into perspective, you're just like, okay, these little stuff are nothing, because you know how many times I've done wrong and God still loves me regardless. You know how many times I haven't even thought about him or praised him or thanked him for taking me out of situations or any little thing. Like, we sin every day and yet he loves us, and I can't even do that to the next person. And I feel like it's so beautiful because it teaches you about yourself as you're serving. It's like, okay, wow, I might have this issue, or why am I doing this, or why do I necessarily fall into assumptions that this person doesn't this? And you start putting things into perspective. And this goes down to my other point as to why some people, and I don't understand now thinking about it, why some people don't like going to church. And I honestly feel like people don't like going to church because it makes them uncomfortable and they don't want to deal with people. But little did you know that dealing with people is what's going to help you deal with yourself. Like, people, I feel like God puts certain people in place so that it can fix you and mold you. If I didn't serve or help or build relationships with people that I wouldn't necessarily build relationships with, I don't think I'll change. I don't think, because then I'll be too comfortable. When you're uncomfortable, that's when change comes. When there's pressure, that is when change comes. And I just want to just boil down to it that just because you don't necessarily, let's say, have a church and you're scared that, oh, I can't be bothered with these certain people and da 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 da, you're going to have to go through that. There's no point in church hopping because this particular church doesn't suit me, or because these type of people are there and they're going to offend me. You are going to find it in every church. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. You might think you are, but you're gonna offend someone. So I'm just trying to like let people understand, like, church isn't going on YouTube and finding a sermon. So I've come to the conclusion that you may feel like you don't have a church, or you find it you're comfortable in staying at home and going on YouTube and listening to sermons, and that's your understanding of church or having a relationship with God. I don't disagree. I feel like, yeah, if you listen to sermons or you listen to things that will help you with the word, and you read your Bible by yourself, that's completely fine. But that second element, or in fact those things that I said previously, like listening to sermons by yourself and reading your Bible and devotion or whatever it may be, that deals with the first part that I was talking about, like, you know, allowing God to be number one and building that relationship. That's good. But the second bit, with loving your neighbor as you love yourself, is going to be uncomfortable, but that's where you need church. And like I said in the beginning, church is not a building, it is people. And it says Jesus is going to come back for his church. He's not coming back for a building, he's coming back for people who have put God first, who have sorry, my camera cut up. So what I was saying was that second part of loving your neighbor as you love yourself really derives from being in church. Jesus is coming back for the church. He's not coming back for a building. The church is made up of imperfect people with the same goal and the same aim, to just make God their priority. With that being said, loving your neighbor is not going to be comfortable, and there's no point in church hopping, because you're going to find the same people. That means that God's trying to test you in that particular thing, and he's putting certain people in place to fix that particular thing inside of you. I can use a perfect example of myself. I love being petty. I love being petty. I wish you would do something just so that I can be petty. But it's like, go put certain people in my life that would really twist and push the wrong buttons, and I would want to be petty, but I would have to just be like, alright, cool. And before, I wouldn't say hello to you again, I wouldn't even say hi, I wouldn't even acknowledge you. But now that I'm really being tested, if someone's done me wrong, I'm still going to hug them and be like, hi, you okay? It's bettered me, because what it's allowed me to do is to not take things to heart. It's allowed me to realize that no one's perfect. No one's gonna do things or say the things that you want. It's not about you. It's about, if someone sees you, who can they see? When you do something, what can they see? Who are you representing? And I want to encourage someone that there's something that God is trying to do in your life, and maybe you need to start feeling uncomfortable, because the only time change will come is when you're uncomfortable and you're under pressure. And don't think that, okay, just being at home and listening to sermons, that's it. No, because you're really not going to understand, and you're not serving anyone just being at home. It's all about you, because it's making you comfortable. What can make you uncomfortable? Yeah, and just stay strong and stay blessed. Bye.